Welcome to the Daily Globe. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. Tonight, the gears of global commerce are shifting in a way few could have predicted. The world's economic engine, long driven by established rules and familiar patterns, is now facing a dramatic recalibration. In the early hours, as the sun rose over the world's busiest ports, a new reality began to take shape, one that will ripple through every industry, every market, and every household. From the bustling ports of Shanghai to the manufacturing heartlands of North America, a single decision from the United States Supreme Court has sent shockwaves across the world. The reverberations are being felt not just in boardrooms and government offices, but on factory floors and in the daily lives of workers who depend on the steady flow of goods across borders. This is not just about legal statutes or economic policy, it's about the interconnectedness of our modern world. Every container that leaves a port, every shipment that crosses an ocean, is part of a vast, intricate network that links nations, businesses, and people in ways that are often invisible, yet absolutely vital. The Supreme Court's ruling this morning strikes down a series of tariffs that have defined international relations for nearly a decade. These tariffs, once seen as immovable pillars of trade policy, have now been swept aside, opening the door to a new era of negotiation and uncertainty. It's a monumental check on presidential power, forcing a fundamental rethink of how the U.S. engages with its trading partners. Diplomats and trade officials are now scrambling to interpret the ruling, weighing its impact on existing agreements and the delicate balance of global alliances. The implications are vast, touching every corner of the global supply chain and promising a new, uncertain chapter in international trade. From logistics companies rerouting shipments to manufacturers recalculating costs, the entire system is bracing for change. The ripple effects will be felt from the world's largest corporations to the smallest local suppliers. For businesses, both large and small, this moment is a watershed, offering hope to those battered by years of volatility. Some see opportunity in the promise of fewer barriers, while others worry about the unpredictability that comes with such sweeping change. Entrepreneurs and executives alike are recalibrating their strategies, knowing that the rules of the game have fundamentally shifted. As we stand on this precipice of change, the world is watching, holding its breath to see what comes next. Markets are reacting in real time, analysts are poring over the details, and journalists are racing to make sense of a story that is still unfolding. The uncertainty is palpable, but so too is the sense of possibility. This story is about power, principle, and the fragile web of global trade that binds us all together. In this moment, we're reminded that the decisions of a single court can echo across continents, shaping the destiny of nations and the lives of millions. The dawn of this new era is upon us, and its impact will be felt for generations to come. To truly grasp the significance of today's Supreme Court ruling, we need to journey back and understand the complex origins of the modern tariff wars, a saga that has shaped global economics and international relations for years. The roots of this conflict stretch back decades, but the most recent and dramatic chapter began in the late 2010s, when tensions between the United States and China reached a boiling point over trade imbalances and intellectual property disputes. In 2018, the Trump administration, guided by its America First agenda, invoked Section 301 of the Trade Act of 1974. This rarely used provision was dusted off to confront China for what the administration described as years of unfair trade practices, forced technology transfers, and intellectual property theft. What followed was a rapid escalation, a tit-for-tat exchange of tariffs that quickly spiraled into a full-blown trade war. Both nations imposed tariffs on hundreds of billions of dollars worth of goods, disrupting global supply chains and rattling markets worldwide. American importers and manufacturers suddenly faced surging costs, forcing many businesses to rethink their supply chains, raise prices, or absorb losses. Consumers too began to feel the pinch as everyday goods became more expensive. Meanwhile, China retaliated with its own tariffs, targeting U.S. agriculture in particular. American farmers, especially those growing soybeans and corn, saw their exports plummet, leading to mounting financial stress in rural communities. The conflict soon widened beyond China. Tariffs on steel and aluminum, justified by national security concerns, strained relationships with key allies like Canada and the European Union, sparking further disputes and retaliatory measures. By 2025, the administration, citing the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, declared a national emergency over trade deficits and the fentanyl crisis. This move unleashed a new wave of sweeping tariffs, expanding the scope and intensity of the trade war. These unprecedented actions, justified as emergency measures, sparked fierce debate and set the stage for a major legal showdown. Critics argued the executive branch had overstepped its authority, while supporters insisted the measures were necessary for national security. Today's Supreme Court decision is the culmination of years of economic conflict, political maneuvering, and legal battles, a turning point in the ongoing story of the tariff wars. At the heart of this legal battle is a constitutional question: who holds the power to tax and regulate foreign commerce? The Constitution grants Congress, not the President, the authority to impose tariffs. Over time, Congress delegated some powers to the executive, especially in emergencies, through laws like the Trade Act of 1974 and IEPA. The Trump administration argued that trade deficits and drug trafficking justified emergency tariffs under IEPA. Challengers countered that IEPA was never meant to allow the president to impose taxes by decree, invoking the major questions and non-delegation doctrines. The Supreme Court was asked to decide, can the president unilaterally levy billions in tariffs under vague emergency powers? This was the high-stakes constitutional drama before the court. The legal assault on the tariffs was a determined march through the courts. A coalition of importers, small businesses, and states challenged the tariffs, arguing they caused severe economic harm. In May 2025, the Court of International Trade ruled that IEPA did not give the president a blank check to impose tariffs. The government appealed, but the Federal Circuit upheld the decision, emphasizing that Congress must clearly delegate such taxing power. A split among appellate judges made Supreme Court review inevitable. Recognizing the stakes, the Supreme Court fast-tracked the case, setting the stage for today's historic verdict. Billions in commerce and the constitutional balance of power hung in the balance. On October 31, 2025, the Supreme Court struck down the tariffs imposed under IEPA. The majority ruled that the executive had overstepped, reaffirming that only Congress can levy tariffs, a core legislative power. The court invoked the major questions doctrine, requiring clear congressional authorization for such sweeping economic actions. The decision invalidates the controversial tariffs and signals skepticism toward broad delegations of tariff authority to the president. The Biden administration must now halt IEEPA tariffs and reassess others, as the court's reasoning casts doubt on their legality. The verdict redraws the boundaries of presidential power in trade, restoring Congress's central role. The era of using emergency powers for trade policy has come to a decisive end. The Supreme Court's decision is an economic earthquake, sending shockwaves through every corner of the American economy. It's not just a legal ruling, it's a turning point that will be felt in households, boardrooms, and trading floors across the nation. The most immediate impact is on consumer prices. As tariffs vanish, the cost of everyday goods may drop, offering much-needed relief to American families who have felt the pinch of rising prices for years. Groceries, electronics, and clothing could all become more affordable, putting more money back into people's pockets and boosting consumer confidence. U.S. businesses, especially importers and manufacturers, are breathing a sigh of relief. The end of trade uncertainty means they can plan for the future, invest in growth, and hire more workers. However, industries that once relied on tariffs for protection now face renewed competition from abroad, forcing them to innovate and adapt quickly. Internationally, the ruling could ease trade tensions that have strained relationships with key allies. Countries like Canada and Mexico see this as a chance to reset economic ties, strengthen partnerships, and encourage cross-border investment and cooperation. China, too, has welcomed the decision. There is renewed hope for the removal of retaliatory tariffs, which could reopen vital markets for American farmers and exporters and help restore balance to global trade flows. Yet, the loss of tariff revenue leaves a fiscal gap for the government, raising questions about how to replace those funds. Meanwhile, global supply chains have already shifted in response to years of instability, and it will take time to rebuild trust and efficiency. The economic map has been redrawn. Businesses and markets must now navigate a new landscape, rethinking strategies and adapting to shifting trade routes and regulations. Investors are watching closely, as volatility and opportunity go hand in hand. The full benefits and challenges of this new era are still unfolding. As the dust settles, the true impact of the Supreme Court's decision will become clear, shaping the future of the American and global economy for years to come. Beyond economics, the Supreme Court's decision is a political recalibration. The court has reasserted Congress's primary role in economic policy, ending the era of unilateral executive action on tariffs. The Biden administration must now work with Congress to forge a new, bipartisan trade strategy. Future presidents will face higher legal barriers to imposing tariffs, strengthening the legislative branch's hand. This ruling is a victory for the rule of law and the constitutional balance of power. Even in polarized times, the judiciary has reinforced the architecture of American democracy. The message is clear. Presidential powers, while substantial, are not limitless. Reaction to the Supreme Court's decision has been swift and far-reaching. The business community and trade associations celebrate a return to stability and lower costs. Legal scholars hail the ruling as a landmark for constitutional law and a check on executive overreach. Internationally, China, Canada, and Mexico see an opportunity to reset strained relationships. Not all are pleased. Domestic industries like steel and aluminum fear renewed foreign competition and job losses. Union leaders warn of uncertainty for American workers. The ruling highlights the complex, often conflicting interests in global trade. It's a victory for free trade and the rule of law, but also a reminder of those left behind by globalization. As the dust settles, the U.S. and its partners face a pivotal moment. The Biden administration and Congress must now craft a long-term, bipartisan trade strategy and address the fiscal fallout. The end of unilateral tariffs opens the door for renewed engagement through institutions like the WTO. Mending fences with allies and finding a sustainable approach to China are top priorities. This is a call for citizens to engage with the economic policies shaping their lives. The Supreme Court has closed a chaotic chapter, but the next one is yet to be written. The path forward will require diplomacy, legislation, and an informed public. The world is watching, and the work starts now.